Okay, this is going to be a video about making interpolation using uh, the lookup function, but we have to make our own lookup function and we have to adjust it. So let's say, to introduce this issue, let's say we have a year and then Alt-EIS enter and let's make it to columns and let's step by 4 and let's go to 2030. And so we step by 4, and let's say the company had a 30% return ROIC in the first year, but then it went down because of overcapacity. It went down all the way to 6%. And then let's say it gets up to 10%. And then let's say because of some economic activity, it goes down to 8. And then let's say we want it 9% for the whole rest of the period. Now, if we put our year here, we can then put 2010, our historic year, Alt-EIS, and this time we'll go to 2030. And then we have our lines. Now, if we would want to put the ROIC here, we'd put lookup, and then we'd look up this. Shit. How about we move this? Okay. Equal lookup. And then we want to look up this value against the year. I better press the F4 key, and I better press this because we have, and Shift Control R doesn't work because I don't have the generic macros open. As soon as I open generic macros, Control Tab, Shift Control R, we have it. Just goes to the right level. Shift Control, right arrow, Shift Control P. Okay, now the problem here is I wanted this to gradually go down, and then I want this to gradually go up, and so on and so forth. And the lookup function, it would be so cool if we could have an alternative lookup function that does this interpolation. And I would like this lookup function to work with the entire column. Now, I have problems with this, and this might be a relatively long video that shows you how to do this. And maybe you just want the result. If you want the result, I'll put the result here. I'll put the result in the macros page, and we'll put it, I'll call it the, we'll put this file, and it'll be the interpolate function. For me, that's important enough to have it separately. And I'm also, since it's so often used in really computation of the value drivers, I'll put it here, computing the terminal value and all that stuff, which I really haven't done enough work on. Okay, now before I go into the video, I have to give my little stupid speech because I get screamed at for giving too much free crap away. Maybe these people are right. They say you're wasting your time, you're hurting your own business, blah, blah, blah. Now, I have a help function, so if you have some Excel problems or more important finance problems, you know, if you go here, you can see kind of how it works. I'm sure we're going to do it. You email me, and if you need an NDA, I'll sign one, and we schedule a Skype call. You do all the things, and then here's the pricing, and I might change the pricing if some people tell me it's too little or too much. God knows. I mean, I like to give stuff away, but it would be nice to survive too, you know? Okay, enough of that. So let's go back and let's start working on our thing. I'm sure I'm going to have to do some stuff. So if I go to developer, let's record a blank macro and stop it. And when we go to the macro, let's edit this. I had to do that now. If I put, let's put functions. Okay, so we can find the functions. Okay, and then let's put the function space lookup NA, lookup interpolate. How about interpolate lookup? Okay, and what we need to do is we need to read in a couple things. Let's put lookup value. That's or I don't know if Excel calls it lookup index. That's going to be just a single value. And then we have, how about we put lookup series, and then we'll put value series. Okay, and you know, and then eventually we'll need interpolate equals, let's just put 0 for now. Okay, we haven't done it now. Now, this is kind of like making, I think of this as a match in the index. So if we just do this, the function is not that hard to do. If we would say for now, let's put for now, let's do this without assuming that they're the entire series. So I think the step one will just be to redo this, and we'll use the horrible F4 things that, you know, I hate to use. Okay, and so we could put for I equal 1 to lookup lookup series dot value. Okay, I probably don't, you know, you can use this option explicit to make sure you don't misspell things. I'm sure I should do that, but I'm kind of too lazy to. So then we can go around. We're going to look at this now. Essentially, what we do is we say we can make it an approximate or an exact match. I suppose, you know, there's no exact match here, so we can rename this, and of course this should be interpolate lookup. So if we make this an exact match, we'd put if lookup series I equal lookup value, then how about interpolate lookup okay, then lookup value equals lookup value. Okay, and then we exit for, or we could even exit the function. No, let's put exit for. no. Then this is interpolate lookup equal value series I. Sorry about that. And then we put end if. Okay. And we don't need this anymore. And actually, let's instead of look, let's put false. Okay. And let me see. And it's, of course, this should have been count. And this is what I meant to do. Sorry about that. So if it equals the lookup value, then we put the value of the series. Otherwise, we finish this. So let's put ROIC exact. Now, if we put equal lookup, no, what did we call this? Oh no, I thought interpolate lookup. Okay, and then you press Shift F3 if you can't remember what to put in. So our lookup value is this, and then our lookup series is this one, and we press the F4 button, and we press this one and press the F4 button, and then we press OK, and it didn't work. It gave me false each time. We'll fix it. I'm gonna pause for a second. Okay, for once I made an error. This should have been exit. I had exit 4. It should have been exit function, because if it goes to exit 4, it always goes here. So then I just redid it. Shift control. Whoops, I'm nervous here. Shift control R, Shift control P. Okay, and now we've replicated it. Now the next steps we're going to do is we're going to fix this so I can select the whole thing. I think that's important. And then we can also make it so it puts it in between. So whenever this is less than, we just have to change the equal sign to a less than or equal sign. In fact, why don't we do that? If I just click on this and instead of less equal sign, I put less than or equal to, and then we just press F2. Hang on, just a minute. That didn't work. Just a minute. I can. Okay, if you just change it here, this took me a little bit to say, if you just make it lookup value, so 2014, if that's less than the next lookup value, then you should take the series, the current series. Otherwise, just make it false. So that works when you do this. It works, but it doesn't work on the very last one. So we have to say when it's the very, this is when it's the, so we have to make an adjustment. Just a minute, I'll make an adjustment. Okay, so I just put in the kind of last one. So, now we kind of at least replicated the lookup, and we can do an exact lookup. So we could make new lookup functions if we'd like. But now what we want to do is I want to take and recalibrate the lookup series. So in case you did the whole thing, we would let's just assume that we don't go more than 1,000. So we could put for I equal 1 to 1,000. And then we could put if lookup series, you know what I'm going to do. let's keep this one good. Let's call this basic, and we have to be really careful and put it basic lookup here. Okay. We have to put them in all of these. Now let's redo this lookup function and allow it to go in the whole thing. Okay, now there might be a better way to do this. I equal 1 to 1000. And then let's put, how about we'll call this a long lookup function. And then we say if lookup value equal how about if worksheet function dot is number lookup series okay, then let's count, and then we'll put count equal count plus 1. Now we need to, I realized something, that if I would have put base 1, can we just, I better see if these still work. Shit. Oh, well, this is, what is this called now? Base. Okay. Shift Control R. Okay, it still works. And I might not have needed that little thing at the end. I'll test that when the function's off. Okay, so well, let's start with count. How about before we put in count, and we'll put lookup series. How about, and then we put count. We're gonna equal okay, and then we put end if, okay, and then we should do exactly the same with the value theory equal, okay, so and then we put next and now we better put a dimension lookup series of 1000, and then dim value series, and let's put 1000. Okay, so let's see if this works, and then we just have to modify a couple of these things, and then instead of lookup series we put lookup series dot count, and if and lookup series just like that, then we're going to call this long lookup, right? put value series. This is just too boring for you, sorry. So lookup series and lookup series. Okay, and long. So you see you have to just name the function, and it's kind of boring. Okay, and finally we put long. Okay, now I'm totally afraid of this. I see. Now I'm gonna do this with you, even though I'm almost positive it won't work, and then I'll turn it off. So let's put long. Okay, and remember you press Shift F3. The lookup value is this. The lookup series this time is the whole thing, and the value series is this one. And okay, it didn't work, but that's okay. Lookup series, we can't. What we need to do is just for one to count. Okay, because we know how many are going to be in the lookup series, and if I is less than count, okay, now let's redo it. Okay, and my God, Shift Control R, well, it worked for one of them. Okay, and let me look at the rest of them, but I'm thrilled that it actually worked just for once, so I'm going to stop this. Now, this was a really easy one. I just didn't, there was nothing wrong with the function. We just had to fix the values. Okay, so that wasn't so bad. Now, what we want to do is put an interpolate. So we want this to be equal to this, and this to be equal to this. So for when it's in between, we want to just go through the interpolate process. Now I have to look at this, so I'm going to have to pause the video for just a minute, and then we'll talk about it. Now, if we, you can see, I'm going to take away the results of this. If we would put the growth rate in an intervening period, you can take the ending value divided by the current value, and you raise it to the 1 divided by the, you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1 is 4 power minus 1, okay? And then we can just copy that. That's going to be the growth period. And then we put the value, and we would put this value in first, and then you would take this value times 1 plus the growth rate. Okay, and we could even keep going to, and that will get the exactly to the end. Okay, Shift Control P. So that's our growth rate. Now we could also do this with a compound factor. Okay, if we did it with a compound factor, what we do is just take, let's just do it again. We take the ending value divided by the current value, and you raise that to the power of the 1/4, but you don't subtract 1, okay? And let's just Shift Control R, I just made it so it wouldn't work on this. And then, whoops, Shift Space Bar, Shift Control Plus, and then we put value. So we would just take this one, and in this case we would take this one times the compound value. Okay. And this one, you would take, we could take this one times the compound value, but we could also, I think we could compute another compound value. We could take the 6% divided by the 30%, and we could raise that to the 1 divided by 3 power, and we could take the 6% divided by the 30% and raise that to the 1 divided by 2 power. Okay? And each time we do that, we could take the 30%, press F4, multiply that by this. Oops. Just a minute. I gotta stop this. Okay, I've moved to a cafe, and this is going to be, let me see, perhaps I'm going to have to put it a little bit louder. Now what if you want to do this by hand, okay, the first thing you can do is compute the growth rate. So if I wanted the growth rate, I would take the ending value divided by the beginning value and raise that to the power. Whoops. Where's my growth? I'd raise that to the power, and then you count on your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you subtract 1 from that, and then you put -1. So, and then I'm just going to put an equal sign, so this is the growth rate for the whole period. Now, if I get the value from the growth rate, I take this beginning value and multiply it by 1 plus the growth rate. Now, when you do the compound growth rate, you could also, and notice how it automatically goes down, you could also just do it by a straight linear kind of function. Okay. I'm doing a compound growth rate. Now, another way to do this would be to take the ratio of the ending divided by the beginning. Okay, and you do this for each period. And this is what we'll use in the program. And then you just simply count. Well, if I wanted to do this, I could just take this one minus the starting point. That's how we could get the numerator. And then the total would be just this one minus minus the previous one. Okay. Oops. Shift Control R didn't work that time because it looked up for the longest thing. Then the factor now, this is a little bit tricky. The factor, and this is going to be just, the final answer is going to give us our growth factor. We take this ratio of the ending to the beginning and just raise this to the power of the 1 divided by the 4. Shift Control R, does that work? No, it still doesn't work. Okay, I remember I counted by 10, so I could adjust the Shift Control R, but usually I think it would work better. And then we could just take this beginning value, press F4, and multiply it by this factor, and you get exactly the same thing as the growth rate. And that's how we do it. So step 1 is we need to compute the ratio of the ending to the beginning. And this ratio, really, the way I should have computed it is with this one divided by this one. Sorry, I'm out. So. Shift Control right arrow Control R. That was a waitress in a coffee shop here. Very nice place. Okay, and then this is showing that the interpolate function actually works. Okay, but we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so the first thing we do, and hopefully this So when it's equal, we just put this one. But when it's not, we say, okay, when the lookup value is less than the very next one. Now notice we did it to the prior one. So on the very last value, this should kick in, I hope. So I have a problem with the last one. And then the numerator is the lookup value. That's a tricky one, minus the lookup value. So if this was 2017, well, 2000, whatever. I started with 2012. This would be 2. And the total number of periods is not the lookup value. You go to the very next value in the future and do it. And then you can raise it to the number of periods, which is just the down here where we raised this to the 1 divided by 2. And then we can compute our power. We raise it to the factor, and then we also always multiply it by the initial factor. So let's see if this interpolates works. Okay, so we put equal interpolates lookup, and what you do is you go to this value, and then you click on the entire thing. That's what we worked on so far. On the other things, we click on this one, press F4, Shift Control P, Shift Control R. Okay, and oops, I shouldn't be showing you this thing. Okay, and then so then it starts. I forgot when the exact values were, and it goes to 10, then to 8, 8, up to 9, and we have a problem with the last set because we can't find the future value, and it doesn't know how to interpolate it in the very last one. So I'm going to make this last one go up to 12, and then let's work on that. But again, I'm going to pause and relax at my coffee shop here. Okay, well, for me, the last thing that's good news is that the only thing I didn't have to have is the silly limitation on the count, because we subtracted the 1 up here, and then we did the whole thing. Now, the last thing I'd really love to do is figure out how to count the series. I tried a little bit of that. I might leave the video on and try a couple of other bits. But let's review it. So the first thing we do is we read in the values, and then we just redefine some series just so they only got numbers. Now this interpolate doesn't work if you've got letters. It only works if you've got numbers. And then we keep counting up, and then we, I guess I subtracted 1. Do I have option base 1 here? Yeah, I have option base 1. So this is the reason it's because we started with 1. Okay, sorry about the people in the beautiful little, it's a wonderful coffee shop on there. And then we, where am I? I'm in the wrong function. Okay. And then what we do is, if it's an exact value, that's fine. That's the very first thing we did. We just check and see if it's equal, and we just find it, go out of the function. But if our year, this is our year, is less than the kind of next year in the series, okay, then we make our ratio, and we take this period and then we go to the last period in the lookup table. This is all the lookup table. But then we compare the current year to the lookup year series, and then we compute the total number of periods. Not, you notice this one, the other one had the end was the same, but the beginning was different. And there's no way to, if I do something like this, I think it takes it back, unfortunately. Probably there's a way to do that. And then we have, well, make sure that we don't have any problem with the numerator, and then we just take the numerator, which is this one, divided by this one, and then we raise the ratio to that power, and we always, this is like pressing F4 on the beginning of it, and then exit the function. Okay? And that's it. So now let's try a couple of other ones. First thing I'll try is let's say this one we're just going to graph, and we'll do kind of a, let's put a base value. Okay. If it's a little loud, well, I've done the main thing. Let's put a growth, and let's make our growth rate 0.1% or something really little. And let's make a volatility, and let's make our volatility times. So if we start this, then if we just want to do like a random series, we take this plus this times the volatility times the n or b of the random numbers. Okay. And just a second. I think that's all we do, right? Okay. Oops. S-I-F-E. Okay. Now, we can also add a trend to this. So let's multiply this by 1 plus the growth rate. Okay. And double click on it. So if we now, whoops, if we just make our graph, okay, shift control down, alt F1, here's our graph. Okay, let's put it at the top. Okay. Now obviously if I, hopefully if I put a growth rate, then, oops, the growth rate doesn't matter nearly as much as I thought. Maybe the volatility has to be 2%. And then we'll make the growth rate 1%. 2%. Okay. 1%. Okay, we can do all of this. Fine. Enough. And then, if we wanted to, why don't we put end of month? Okay, take this one and put comma 0, shift control 3, then we can do kind of what I did in a recent video, and we can say, okay, let's take the monthly average for this. So this is the average, and we take average if, and we go to this one, take this one, take this one, okay? And then how many months do we have? 7, July, so let's just equal EO1, go up here, 1, shift control 3, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, not too far. Now if we, this is going to be how the lookup works now, so this is another example. If we just use a regular old lookup, we could put equal lookup, and then we can say, well, look up this value, and look up on this value first, and then after you look up on this value, then you get this one. So what we're just doing is filling in the average. Now let's make the volatility a little higher. Growth rate 0.5% maybe. Okay, and then if we wanted to graph that, so we could put average. Okay, and then we can. So now I'm going to make another graph. Shift control down. Shift F8. Shift Control up, alternate F1, and we better format the axis as a text axis, and then we can make the how do we change the series type? Let's make the average a how about we just make the average alone? Okay, now, so, but instead of the average, maybe we'd want to move this average up and down and up and down. So instead of being exactly a straight line, okay, it's kind of like almost a moving average. I don't know if you'd even call that a moving average. So what we would try to do now, and let's see if it works, put moving. And this time we'll sort of change because I have a random number, and we put equal lookup, interpolate lookup, and then we forgot what it is, so you press F3, and we want the lookup series, just like we did before, and then we put this in as F4, not F4, and we put this in. Okay, so it's the inputs are identical, and we press OK, and okay, thank you very much. And now we put them all in. Just a minute. Okay, it's supposed to be going up. Just a minute, I'm going to stop this. Okay, I had two things wrong. First of all, when I did the moving average this time, I shouldn't have used the end date. This time I should have used this date. And I needed to put a starting value in because we needed it for the starting value. When I didn't put the starting value in, it still worked, which worries me a little bit. So if you go up here, it gradually goes up. So you get to you get to the end of January, and it just gets to the last value, which I put as the ending, but how about if we do this? And this one, instead, we'll just use another lookup. I think we'll use our regular lookup this time. Let's look at this one, and this one this time, and get the values. Okay, so now we could just get the ending values and see how it gradually goes to these. So then we just, instead of using the average values, come on, let's here. So now we put this in here. Oh shit. Oops. Okay, I've got something wrong apparently. But you can see what I'm trying to do is at the end of January, it should have gone to oh, it just took a minute. Oh, there we go. Okay, I guess it's a little bit slow because we have quite a few data points. And why don't we make another graph just to finalize this one? So let's shift control up, shift F8. Nope, sorry. Shift control down, shift F8, shift control up. And this one, can I pull it up, please? No. Shift control down, shift F8, shift control up, so we got our titles in our graph, alternate F1, and let's change the chart type couple of the series. So, oh well, I have average, moving average. I wanted to put all of them there. Okay. Alright, well, whatever. You get the idea. I could put the details on the chart too. Okay, maybe that's okay okay. So that's the use of it. So it kind of works flexibly. I guess the one thing to be worried about is it seems to be a little bit slow. Okay, and then let's have a third depth. Let's say we start with model, and then we have a discount rate of, let's say, 20%. Whoops, 20%. And then we have our instruction, FC, and at the financial close, which is either this, let's make it 15 months. It's not very long. And then our discount rate goes down to 15%. And then we have COD, for the date, that one maybe 12, 13. Okay. Shipping control 3, and then our discount rate goes to 12. And then we have our history, so we have 3 years of history, 2 years of history. I don't know, I'd like 3 years. Wind farm or something like that, so we put typical E-date, and 36, okay? Shift control 3, and then let's say we go down to 8%. And then we put finally death, and that's the E-date. Let's make it a 25-year project. Okay, so we'll take a COD date and put 25 times 12. Okay. Shift control 3, and we still leave it at 8%, maybe it goes down. Okay, shift control down, shift control T. Now let's make our timeline. Okay, and we'll start with COD, development rather. Shift control 3, development. Put the start here. Finished here. Why I can't seem to press shift control 3 anymore. Oh, okay. Let's make it a monthly model, and so we'll put okay, this shift control 3. Now if we have a monthly model for 25 years plus 2 years development plus 2 years of construction, it would be 20, let's say 30 times 12. So we put 1 EIS. What was that, 300 or something? Okay, and then we can put shift control R. And we can go to our date and say equal hands. And go always to this date, F2, F4 is greater than or equal to this one, F4 3 times, and we press this one, is less than this one a few times, shift control R, just that fast. So there's our development period, and we can go down and get our, oh, this almost worked. Oh my god. This is our this period. Oh, I can't believe that. And then we go from 18 to 21. This is okay. And then we go to the rest of it. Let's just make sure we've got some trues over there. Okay, and then what we could do is, if we were just looking for the lookup, what we would do is over here, when we use the discount rate, we'll put in lookup and just click on this date. And I hope I can do it. F4, I couldn't. Let's okay, obviously this won't change, so put lookup. And when you click on this one, press F4, this one, F4. Okay, Shift Control R, Shift Control P. So our discount rate from 15 to 12. But if we wanted to do lookup with the interpolate, okay, I'm absolutely sure that there are thousands of examples of this. We put interpolate lookup, and we do the same thing. But this time, we click on the date, have the starting date, click on the discount rate, the starting date, Control P, Shift Control. And now if the discount rate is gradually going down, it doesn't matter, it gradually goes down, and then it just stays at 8%. Okay, so that's how we could use this to make an evaluation. I'm going to just enjoy my coffee.